Hello everyone, RPG Japan here, and welcome to a unique challenge in Gods of Gravity VR. So today, we're going to be playing Gods of Gravity VR multiplayer, but as a mortal, which means that we're going to be fighting other players without the use of our god powers. How can this possibly go wrong? I started out this challenge in my very first match. This is one where I'm just trying to figure out how hard this match is going to be. If I win, huzzah! But if I don't, I'm going to need to do some planning. So I went in here with production, as that seems to be the best god with no god powers, given its universally useful generate more troops ability that it has. And I just went for some moons, as you do, before going for the main big planets that surround, as if I can get some territory, if I can get some land, my unit cap increases, and with that, I may have a pretty good shot of taking over more parts of the world. So, starts out going really well. I see my opponent over there, they seem to be going about the same speed as I am in this case, running their own god. And hopefully, this goes well. I'm sort of flying around, looking around, and trying to see if I can potentially sneak out a planet, because I'm going to need every advantage they get. Even if that does mean being a little bit sleazy when taking someone else's planet that they are half capturing. So sending my units over to the moon to orbit this planet, and then realizing, oops, they're going to start blasting. So fully committing to it, I just go in. Just blast them. And, yeah. They almost took it from me. They almost did exactly what I was planning to do to them. And then, of course, I'm panicking with portals a bit. It has been a while since I played. And I'm sending some people over just to defend the new land. Because if I can hold that missile silo for a long enough time, I'll have a chance of winning. Sending over some more troops, looking at their units, and then realizing, that's a few more than I thought. Backing out and just taking some moons. You know, keeping an eye on them. We gotta make sure that they cannot get too much of an advantage, because they have god powers, which can turn the tides of any battle. And I, being immortal, do not. Flying over, just taking over some few planets, orbiting the systems. Ones that give more storage space and some more control, as I do need to eventually make my way towards my opponent's base. And to do so, I would rather not run out of energy and be flying helpless in the middle of the dead space and void. See outside their structure, I send in a few ships, pulling them back just a bit, and then my power gets cut. And here's where things start to go wrong. My power gets cut, so I decide to head up the line and take it back, as you would. But then, everything doesn't go as planned. It seems like the opponent has managed to sneak past my defenses and has gone right to my very doorstep, which, well, is a problem. With an enemy at my doorstep, Probably Poor was proving to be a probably great opponent, as they kept on moving in slow bits, advancing slightly on my territory. Each growing second made me a bit more anxious, a bit more risky. But hey, at least I'm not out of the game yet. A few misplays and it should be fine. So, heading around, I just keep on going from place to place until I notice their army. Yeah, 92. This game is as good as over. With an army like that, my feeble forces cannot possibly bear a laser to them, as they approached on my home, and eventually decided to take it.
Well, I'm gonna get one win. Eventually.
Red team wins.
See ya. And good game. Alright, bit rough for a first shot, but we can do it on a second go.
And a second go we went, against an opponent called Tasty Alien, a warlord of space. They went for volatility, a choice that I don't actually see often, so I wasn't sure what their god power did. Which, I'm sure will be fine. I started the game same as I did last time, quickly rushing planets, and this time I was a bit faster as I wiped off some rust from the last match. And with renewed vigor, I set forth to take on all these planets once again, this time in a more rapid succession. Starting with the moons, as I realized last game I didn't have enough units to fight my opponent. I needed more, meaning I needed to hard focus moons this time, starting with a little bit of sabotage, taking my opponent's moons, just to take away just that tiny bit of income, which may be crucial in later games. following up by taking the planets so that my income wouldn't be in vain and that my ships would actually get constructed, I went moon to moon, sort of like hopping between them all, trying to get to the point where I had enough moons to win off of sheer number alone. Whatever the defense is, whatever the power, it shouldn't matter if I have 12 million moons, right? Right? I continued going, making a bit of a mistake with the missile planets still. I need to get used to those. And then I realized they're taking my moons, and I can't have this, so I went right for the planet they were taking. I was determined to destroy their army at any cost necessary, sending my forces forth. And then, oh, so that's what your god power does. All their ships became missiles, completely demolishing my forces, and with that crucial loss at that key point, things started looking bad. This alien was heading right for my home planet, and I didn't have many ships to defend against it. So I tried my best, trying to remove their power. When I got most of their planets out, besides one, I sent my troops in, ready to take him on. I had enough, I could probably do this if I was smart. And then I misplaced the portal.
Alright. Wasn't able to win this time, but maybe next time.
As I stood before my next opponent, Frosty Wizard, I was starting to realize something. I needed something perfect. If I had any chance of winning against their god powers, I need a perfect run. So a perfect run I would strive for. A perfect run I must get in order to complete this challenge. And it was perfect. Until they killed most of my army by cutting off my power. Welp.
No.
And, then my portal just gave up. I don't know how to explain that one, but, yeah. It seems like my ships were done with me, so I had to do something drastic. I went straight for the sun. And this was going well.
What?
Until, of course, they're gonna go steal the sun, because why would they let me have the sun? I tried, at least I tried. And they say at the sun, getting the power, killing my units, which will result in, well, you probably can fill out the rest.
Ah, dang. Dang, yeah, getting rid of all the moons and the planets is quite hard. Ah, yeah. Yeah.
I need something more than a perfect run, so I got to planning. I got to thinking. And I had a plan that couldn't fail? Until it would, maybe. But if we went on a simple map, right, there's not a lot of points, not a lot of places, or not a lot of time for enemies to get the ability to use their powers. This is my plan. If I can play on this map, I may have a chance. Especially when seeing my next enemy, Tasty Alien. Which is a good thing, because they're 1, a good opponent, but 2, have a strategy that I picked up last time. I noticed that Tasty Alien would have a portal going between 2 planets, one of which they would switch. So I would go for an undefended planet, only realizing after the fact that their full army was there. This caught me off guard many times, and I wouldn't make the same mistake again. One more benefit to the simple map, which I haven't mentioned yet from me, is that both players are restricted to one god. The god of production, one of which Tasty Alien was not as proficient with as they were with Volatility. Knowing these things now, it seemed like this game, I had a chance, even if it was just a ghost of one. One more thing about this map is that this map is actually played in the campaign as a sort of tutorial level, and it was also a map in the earlier versions of the game. Earlier versions that I played. An earlier version that I sped ran. That's right, I knew this map well. Very well. As this is a map that I sped around over and over and over again until I got a really good time, and then decided, alright, that's probably good enough. But I remember the strategy. Getting all the moons first, and then rushing for the planets. A simple blitz would serve me well here, especially since this blitz that I would be undertaking would result in my opponent, Taste the Alien, having less chance to use the God of Production's ability, which I did know. The God of Production's ability summons a bunch of reinforcements to a planet. The more strong a planet is, the more reinforcements are summoned. Knowing this, I had a bit of an advantage, especially when I was the one pulling the traps. That's right, this trap here, I thought it wouldn't work until I managed to manage my troops. That's right, 2 manages, in order to get behind their enemy lines, which catapulted me into the lead. A lead that I must keep. If I knew anything from last time, I can't let any gods get any sort of breadth of air when fighting me. I need to make sure that any of their ships, even ones on moons that are floating around, get dealt with before they become a problem, as they can summon an army at the drop of the hat, which means that I need to act quick. If I was going to take advantage of this lead, I needed to go for their home base, almost immediately. Heading for some planets first to get the position so I could strike an attack, I moved around, in my own unique way, flitting between battle and fleeing, taking over moons and planets as they were waiting for me. Flying between places, I knew that if I went to one of the planets that looked fully defended, it wouldn't be. And then another trap was launched. Like they did with me, except this time I wasn't using portals, I defended an undefended planet. Now, sending my troops over, I had a greater army to fight my foe. A foe of which that I kept on beating down until even the ships on the tiniest of moons that I thought could potentially cause me problems in the future, I attacked. Striking every inch that I could, taking every planet, every moon that I could, that even the reinforced army couldn't stop my waves. Sending forth my troops, I was wary, keeping an eye on what they could do. Now with new reinforcements that they just dropped to their home planet, I wanted to make sure that I could shock them, surprise them, get behind their lines, anything. But I also needed to gather my army. Sending my army forth up the lines, I was ready, waiting for them to strike. It seemed like they're going for my planet that was not very defended, which was a wise decision, until their troops, since I struck them, were in limited number. So before they could launch this attack to take that planet with 6 armor, I'd counterattacked, and counterattacked, and counterattacked. And now, I was in a position to take their planet. All I needed to do was collect a few more troops and destroy their moons, so that I could become the victor in this match. My army was gathered, and my army was strong. All I had to do was press the button, and so I did. I took over their planet before they could get any more leeway, any chance of victory, any ability of their god power could be shown. I attacked their home planet with all I had, hundreds of troops, and even their reinforcements couldn't stand up against it. This is it. Even as a mortal, you can still defeat gods. Thanks for watching. Consider liking and subscribing for more Gods of Gravity content, and I hope to see you next time.